But we have to talk about Chelsea here as well. In the last 8 games, Chelsea have won 1 game. Chelsea are 1 win in 8. And within that, 4 of them games have been defeats. 4 defeats, 3 draws, 1 win for Chelsea. On top of that, Chelsea have scored just 5 goals in those 8 games. I believe it's 5 goals. I want to check that. 5 goals in the last 8 games. 2 against Bournemouth, 1 against Forest, one in a 4-0 drumming by Brighton, and the goal and the penalty against Manchester United. Chelsea are in absolute trouble right now. You can't get away from it. Chelsea are in genuine, bona fide trouble at this moment in time. And they're building something. They're buying players. We're not talking about the long-term future of Chelsea being in jeopardy. They're going to be okay. But in terms of this season, Chelsea, for me, will not make the top 4 now. I don't think they can make the top 4 now. And I'm not even trying to be hyperbolic. You can see them there, 10th in the table, sitting 10 points behind Manchester United in 4th. So it isn't about needing an 11-point swing against Man United. It's about the fact that Chelsea now need an 11-point swing against United, but they also need to make sure between now and the end of the season they're better than Liverpool and they're better than Tottenham. Brentford, Fulham, Brighton, I wouldn't worry too much about. But are Chelsea realistically going to be 4 points better than Liverpool, 9 points better than Tottenham, and 11 points better than Man United between now and the end of the season, and 11 points better than Newcastle, maybe? I don't see it myself. I think the race is run for Chelsea now in terms of top 4. This is about figuring out your players, working out who really wants to be here, getting the new system under control. And I don't know what Chelsea fans think, but give the youngsters a go. Give the young players a chance. Bleed them in if you're going to keep them as part of this new process at the club. Chuameka comes on, and he impressed me. He looks like a baller in the making. Give him more time. Play him. Push the old guard out. Sell him in January if you can, because Champions League football's not happening anyway. You might be better off next year not even being in goddamn Europe. Legitimately, you may be in a better condition to not be in Europe next year. You really and truly may be, but things aren't good at Chelsea right now. I'm not going to take away from City. Deserve their win tonight. As you can see, they go within 5 points now of Arsenal, and it makes those games, the next 2 round of games now, that everybody has. Arsenal play Tottenham and Man United. Man United play City and Arsenal. I think City play Man United, and I want to say they play Tottenham. Those 3 in like a round robin is going to be crazy. Who's going to come out on top? How many points will Arsenal be clear? How many points will City catch up? Could Man United throw themselves into this title race? Don't write off Newcastle. It's all set up at the top of the league now for a spellbinding second half of the season, there's no doubt. But I want to hear from everybody today. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. I've got David, Patrick, Matt joining me on a panel soon to have their say about tonight's proceedings and game. Terry, why the hell did Chelsea sack Tuchel for this fraud? Potter, no disrespect to him, he should have stayed at Brighton longer. I'm not going to lie to you. Look, I understand the longevity element, but right now Potter does look like a fish out of water. He really does look like he looks clueless. However, a lot of us thought that Mikel Arteta 18 months ago looked clueless. He's now in a title race with Manchester City. So I think we need to be mindful of completely and utterly writing him off. But I do want to get the take of Chelsea fans. DR here says Hutchinson won't make it at this level. I've seen so many young players show promise in debut situations, and he plays like that. We got scammed. Wow. So DR here thinks that Hutchinson is not going to be good enough for Chelsea based on that performance. What do you all think? Do you agree with DR on that? Potter's doing some magic and making Chelsea disappear from the Premier League. 226 million in the summer for 10th. They had a worse window than Spurs. Flops. But is that on Potter? Graham Potter didn't buy any of these players. This is not a team built under the eyes and philosophy of Graham Potter. You can argue the one person I would call out tonight is Cucurella, because Cucurella is by definition a Graham Potter player, and he had a stinker tonight. I don't really see the TL talking about him. He let Mahrez go. He didn't want to defend tonight. But Graham Potter, for me, deserves more time. He hasn't bought a single player. It was a mishap between the new owners and Tuchel to let him have his summer and then sack him so early in the season. Graham Potter needs time. Graham Potter needs time for me. Terry, something wrong with City. Is Pep overthinking again? The first half tactics was shocking. Look, he loves to do galaxy brain. He loves a galaxy brain. We know that when it comes to Pep Guardiola. But when you have that talent on the bench, when you have that talent in reserve, there's always going to be big options for you. I don't think you can get away from that. But problems at City, that might be stretching it a little too far, but you can definitely get at City this year. You guys call us Banter Club. We are our worst in years and lost by 1 to City. We will be back. Won't take us 10 plus years like some clubs, is what Juan CFC has got to say. And I don't think it will take you that long either. I'm going to be very consistent with my Chelsea message. It's painful to watch, but there is a long term plan here that I think needs to be focused on as well. Bowley quit and starts a new game on Football Manager, is what Anthony says here. It's actually hilarious. We have a 4-11 that's injured, no stability for Potter to implement anything. Players get fit, another one drops. That is true. You have to bear that in mind. I mean, I've seen certain fan bases moan over 1 or 2 injuries. Chelsea quite literally have a whole first string out and some of their best players out, and they lost 2 more of them tonight. So that does have to be considered for Graham Potter as well. Why would Mudryk join this? Well, he's not considering joining them right now. That's as far as we know. There's a great question raised by George there, my friend. I think City have not yet figured out how to incorporate a traditional number 9. I think that's a fair challenge. They don't. The football at City isn't as good this year as it has been in previous years. I think that's obvious for all to see. I think you're spot on with that, my friend. Chelsea's priority should be signing strikers and midfielders rather than more defenders. Aubameyang is washed out. Hutchinson isn't ready yet, is what Daniel believes here. We are washed. Just liquidate us already. Bowley out. Bowley out calls this evening here from Chelsea fan Andrew Laurie that wants Bowley gone, off the board, and not running this football club anymore. Nabil says, I'm sorry, but people who are saying Potter out, they don't know ball. 9+ injuries, Aubameyang and Havertz not existing. They lost 1-0 to the defending champions, is what Abil Akbar says. I think it's a fair point there from Abil. Chelsea are all about money and have no end product, is what Jags has got to say. C says, enjoy the free hit rivals. We are in the perfect cluster. F. First team finish is so play the kiddos. Better we lose like this than tear it away down and truly build a strong foundation. DR says, whenever we play well, we get injuries. We are chronically allergic to being sustainable. 7 to 8 injuries in our starters. Potter, open up a hospital ASAP, is what DR is asking for here. And how big do you think that is? Terry in the mud. So what? Because I predicted Chelsea to win. I mean, I weren't far off. They only lost 1-0. Hit the post. We're the best team in the first half. Do you understand what being in the mud means? Being in the mud is when you say City are winning 3-0 and then Chelsea win 3-0. That's like in the mud on a prediction. You kids ain't learned anything yet, have you? Honestly, you need to send me your mum and dad's phone number. I need to chat to your parents. They're probably about my age. I need to have a chat with them and see what they're doing because they brought you up bad, son. They brought you up bad.